in 2006 as a lunch for a networking lunch for people who spoke. And I was having coffee with a couple of friends trying to figure out how to get more speaking engagements. And I said, well, why don't we start a lunch and invite all the people we know? They said, great idea, Jeff. Why don't you start a lunch and we'll support you? And that is exactly what happened. It would not have happened if they had not supported me, but it also wouldn't have happened if I hadn't jumped on that particular landmine and took on the responsibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today. And I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Well, today's guest is going to be a speaker, author, coach, trainer, and founder of SpeakerCoop.com. Now, that's a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't even mention the stuff he does with advertising and marketing and all that stuff. So, you know what? Let me just welcome our next guest. The one, the only, the amazing Jeff Klein.
Thanks, Tiberius. Glad to be here.
Well, first off, thank you for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Okay, so how would you describe what you do to someone my age?
Well, my primary job is as a public speaker. So I have a couple of topics that I speak about. One is business networking. The other is business speaking. And I teach business people all about how to use those two skills to get more clients. So primarily, I help people prospect for their businesses.
Okay, so as a kid, did you always kind of know that you wanted to be on a stage and speaking?
Absolutely not. I spent most of my childhood, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I realized I didn't have the grades or the fortuitousness to pursue that career, and started looking at the film industry because I'd always loved movies and spent lots of hours watching movies with my dad, and the movie business drew me in, and that's what I did for about 20 years before the speaking came along.
What was the
all connected, but sort of in a karma way, not in an obvious way.
So, what was the subject of the first speech that you ever gave?
The first speech I ever gave was at my bar mitzvah. I was 13, and just like most every Jewish kid, we have to give a speech as part of that ceremony. And so I did a talk about how the portion I read from our Torah had to do with everyday life, and because it had laws about things like incest and family values. My particular portion did, and so that's what I talked about. I mean, I didn't talk about incest in my speech. That was kind of silly, but I did talk about
how
family.
long did it take before you were no longer nervous when you went on stage?
Well, the truth is, a good speaker is always a little bit nervous because you want that energy. So I was not nervous since then. I mean, then I was nervous. My dad gave me some very, very good advice about how to take a good deep breath to start your speech, and that helped me relax. And that's still one of the things I teach today, is that big first breath to get your speech started strong. But no, I was not one of those people who's nervous on stage. I was also a theater kid in high school.
So it says here in your bio that you spoke over 1,000 times to tens of thousands of people. Did you ever lose your voice?
I've had to deal with having a cough or a hoarseness before a talk, and I have the remedy I learned from another speaker, which is cough drops in hot water, and they work.
So you have a book about something called an elevator pitch. Are we like throwing baseballs in an elevator? I don't think there's like enough space for that.
Yeah, different kind of pitch, of course, Tiberius. It's a verbal pitch. and it's how people get 30 seconds to talk about their business or their prospects or whatever it is they're looking for. They have contests all the time about having a powerful elevator pitch, and I started teaching that in 2004, and that's how I became a speaker, was because of the elevator pitch.
So, what are the main elements of a good elevator pitch?
The good elevator pitch asks for something. Depending on your setting, there's different things you want to ask for. If you're actually in an elevator, and that's the whole where it got its name, is to be able to talk to people between floors before they got off the elevator. Your goal in an elevator, in the elevator pitch, is to get somebody to give you their business card before they get off the elevator so you can reach out to them again. If you're at a chamber of commerce meeting or a networking meeting, the goal for your elevator pitch is to get people interested in visiting with you later, or in giving you a referral for a prospect for your business.
So, what are the most common mistakes people make when introducing themselves?
They forget it's about the other person, not about them.
So,
You know,
do you
that's
think kids and teens need to learn how to speak confidently too?
absolutely, it's one of the most important skills. And some states have speech class as a requirement in high school or junior high. I moved from a state that had speech to a state that didn't when I was a kid in high school. But yes, it's super important to be able to talk about yourself comfortably without being nervous. And because you're going to be talking to people one on one and one on many for the rest of your life.
So, have you ever been like surprised by an audience member's reaction to one of your performances?
Very much so. the uh, the biggest one was when somebody accused me of being a racist because I was teaching demographic advertising. Yeah, in Austin, this is a breakfast in Austin, Texas, and I had driven down from Dallas, and he wound up quitting the group that I spoke at. Everybody else in the room gave me compliments at the end of the day about how I handled him, because I didn't get offended or upset. I just talked it out, trying to explain to him what my point of view was, and he was just wasn't having it. And the other folks in the room were. It was a very mixed crowd in Austin, and he just wound up looking bad, and I wound up looking pretty good.
So, what's one easy tip a student could use tomorrow to speak better?
Breathe. It sounds silly, but the truth is, if you take that first breath and use that breath for your talk, then you're automatically ahead of people who go and then start talking without any breath and they run out of air or they talk too fast. If you're breathing, you're going to be speaking slower. You're going to have natural energy from the oxygen you're taking in, and you'll overall do a better talk.
So, what is something that you should never do when you're the speaker?
Go long, speak too long, overstay your welcome.
Okay, so what is one thing you think kids should know about doing the work that you do?
Um, well, that it is a viable profession. It's not something the guidance counselor is going to tell somebody they can do, but it is a real job. Public speaker is an actual job with a certification through the National Speakers Association. So it's a real job. That's important to know. It's not just a hobby. There are people who speak for fun, but the point of speaking is, well, the key is to have a point for your speaking. I was very surprised early on in this journey to discover people who said, I want to be a speaker. And I said, oh, what do you speak about? I don't know yet. Well, that was surprising to me. I thought until that moment that speakers were people who were passionate about something, so passionate about it they couldn't stay quiet. And I learned that there's a ton of people like that, but then there's also people who just want to be on a stage and be famous for being on a stage. So that's a different idea.
Well, here seems like a good time to do a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut. That's a wrap. Just use that.
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service, and firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we're back here talking with Jeff Klein, founder of a company called SpeakerCoop.com. Okay, so Jeff, I see that you do speaking and coaching, but what is this Speaker Co-op all about? It sounds like a video game.
Yeah, it felt like one for a while. Speaker Co-op started in 2006 as a networking lunch for people who spoke. And I was having coffee with a couple of friends trying to figure out how to get more speaking engagements. And I said, well, why don't we start a lunch and invite all the people we know? They said, great idea, Jeff. Why don't you start a lunch and we'll support you? And that is exactly what happened. It would not have happened if they had not supported me, but it also wouldn't have happened if I hadn't jumped on that particular landmine and took on the responsibility. And at our first meeting in January of 2006, we had 50 people show up.
Wow.
And I was blown away. I didn't know what to do. We had to change our format because we had two people speaking and everybody was going to do an elevator pitch. And we didn't have time for everybody to do an elevator pitch. So I had to come up with a new way to introduce ourselves, the Speaker Co-op way. And we adopted that and still use it today, how we introduce ourselves to start our meetings. But, and we're on our 300 and something third Friday meeting. Now they're all virtual, but the first 10 years they were in person. Then we started meeting in Houston after a few years. And we met for 6 or 8 years in Houston once a month in person. And then we went completely virtual before COVID.
Okay. So how did you grow it to reach over 20,000 people?
The simple answer, Tiberius, is offering something that people want. You know, those are our, we have about 150 speakers on our website. We have about 30 vendors, resource members on the website. And that 20,000 number is our social media reach between Facebook and LinkedIn and Meetup and a little bit on X and a Facebook group and LinkedIn group. We've got 20,000 people that are subscribed or follow Speaker Co-op in some way.
So what is the coolest speaker that you have seen come out of your speaker community?
I had a really cool guy who was a storm chaser, and he used to tell stories, and he had amazing pictures of the storms he had chased close and far. He produced an amazing book called it's Stuart Levine is his name. I forget the name of the book, but amazing photography book with poetry in it to the pictures of all the storms he had chased.
Wow.
So that was one of the coolest ones. We've had famous people come through, some famous athletes and some famous coaches. But I'd say Stephen would probably be the coolest thing with the storm chasing.
So do you have any teens or younger speakers in your group?
We have had. We had a fellow who wrote a book called Kidpreneur, which was all about kids who started their own companies. And every page of the book was a different story about a different kid who'd started his own business while still in high school or junior high.
So what are the most important services that you provide speakers in your co-op?
We teach speakers how to get results. That's more important than anything. Whatever the result they want is, if they're building their list, if they're looking to get clients, if they're looking to promote their nonprofit, what we help them do is get the results they're looking for from speaking and help them get on the right stages to get those results.
So, if someone wants to book one of your speakers, how do they sort out which one they want out of 20,000 speakers?
Well, the website is organized by categories. So, and of course, you could search by keyword. You could search Storm Chaser, but you could also just go into the category list. There's a list for business categories and a list for non-business categories. So you could find self-help, faith-based, leadership, team building, all that good stuff.
Okay, so I would like to try something different with you today. I want to shoot out like a word like really fast, and you give me the first of 3 to 5 words that you think of to explain it to a teen, okay?
Okay,
Ready?
I'm ready.
Marketing.
Teaching people what is valuable about you or your business.
Okay. Networking.
Networking is helping people connect to your business through warm introductions, not through selling.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Referral.
A referral is simply a warm introduction of somebody you know that they're interested in meeting, or you think they should be interested in meeting.
That's a good one. Okay, keynote.
A keynote is a main speech where everybody at the event is in front of the is in the room with the speaker.
Now, that's something new I learned today. I hope that really helped everybody. So, if you could speak to any group in the entire world, who would it be and what would you talk about?
Oh boy, I got a thing going right now where I'm telling the story about how my dad brought 30 Jews from the former Soviet Union to freedom in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I would love to share that talk with the HIAS, the group that helped bring them.
Wow.
The nonprofit.
Okay, so Jeff, who can you say was the person who helped drive your passion the most?
I'm still talking about my father. He made it so that that we 3 kids could do whatever we wanted to do, whatever our hearts told us we should be doing. He gave us the freedom and the self-worth and independence to do that.
So, what is the best advice that you've ever received? And who gave you that advice?
Well, that take a breath before you start talking is pretty good advice. So that's one that's really up there. And then the other one is a Zig Ziglar quote that I live every day, and that is, "There's no such thing as a free speech."
Okay, so why would a kid listening today want to grow up and do your job?
They are passionate about making the world a better place through a specific mission or idea. And they can take that idea and share it with the world as a speaker.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we're back here with Jeff Klein, speaker, business owner, coach, and a TV guy. Well, Jeff, is there anything that you don't do?
Yes, lots of things. I don't implement. So if somebody needs a website, I will tell them a good ideas for it, but I don't build it. I help people build stuff. I'm an idea guy. I tell people what to do and hope they'll do it. to help themselves in their business, but I don't actually do the work for them.
So, how does running Speaker Co-op make the world a better place?
We are a platform for people who are out there to make the world a better place. So what I get to do as a speaker coach is make the world a better place one speaker at a time.
So, Jeff, what type of speaker do you seek out, and how do you go about doing it?
Well, we are type agnostic, Tiberius. We want everybody who is a speaker to be on our website. We want to take over the world of speaking websites. So if people who are looking for speakers have one place to come, and they don't have to go all over the internet to find speakers. They can just come to SpeakerCoop.com and get a great speaker for their event.
So, what was that one thing that happened in your career that you didn't expect?
Well, I never expected to be a speaker. So
Okay.
That's one of them. That's a big one. And then I became a speaker coach, helping other people with their speaking, and that was also not planned. But I'm a teacher, and I always want to help people, so people started asking me my advice, and I wound up becoming a coach in that field.
Okay, so how can a kid like my listeners and I get into becoming a good speaker?
Well, the first thing is decide what you want to talk about. What is the purpose for your speaking? If you're looking to educate people about a specific subject that you're passionate about, that's the best place to start. And then put together a talk about that thing. Come up with 5 points you can teach about that thing and create 8-minute stories, lessons, a story that teaches a lesson. And in that 8 minutes, and with 5 8-minute pieces, you've got a keynote talk. But you also have a 20-minute talk, and a 30-minute talk, and a 40-minute talk.
That makes sense. So, Jeff, on your off time, what are your favorite things to do for fun?
I am a board gamer. I love getting together with friends and playing board games.
What's your favorite board game?
Right now, it's a toss-up between Civolution and Ark Nova.
Ah, okay. Now,
But
instead of board
SETI is a
games,
close second.
so instead of board games, do you play any video games? And if so, what's your favorite one?
I don't play video games very much anymore. I've gotten to where when I'm in front of the computer, I'm working or having a conversation like this with someone. On my phone, I do play a lot of pool. I play 8-ball on my phone as a gambling game. And then I also like to play Texas Hold'em as well, especially in tournaments.
That's okay. That's okay. So, what's your favorite book to read?
I'm a big fan of historical fiction, where they make up a character, but they put him in real events. I just watched a bunch of the Sharps movie about the guy who was a British soldier during the Napoleonic Wars, so that kind of thing. And I also like autobiographies of comedians. Those are fun to listen to as audiobooks.
Okay, so throughout your career, what have you learned that you're not aware of when you first started?
Well, that people want to speak about stuff that nobody's ever heard of, that people want to try to educate people about stuff that it's questionable if anybody cares about it, and that people will pay to have coaching for their speaking business.
Okay, so what was the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Wow. Biggest mistake I've ever made. Well, let's try to keep it to business. Well, I trusted the wrong person. And I lost control of my website for 6 months.
Ouch. Okay, okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. But that one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, You can tell me.
Well, I mean, I have my most embarrassing moment story was when I went to a costume party that turned out not to be a costume party.
Ooh, ouch.
Now, the funny thing was everybody was wearing Western wear, so it was sort of a costume party. But I was working on a motion picture, and they were having a crew party, and the band that was playing in the movie played for this party, and it was a honky tonk southern or a country band, and everybody at the party, and it was on Halloween. So everybody but me and one other guy wore Western wear, and he showed up dressed as I think it was Robin Hood, and I showed up. I built a costume to be a satyr werewolf kind of guy, and I had created fur legs, and I had horns on my head, and hooves.
Wow, that's pretty funny.
So my
Okay.
pictures from that party are me in sweatpants and a t-shirt, because fortunately I had something to wear in the car besides the costume. But my friend, he wore his outfit, his Robin Hood with the sword and everything for the whole night.
So, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you and what you do?
Well, I have spent a lot of time helping folks talk about having a career in the motion picture and television industry, because I did that for a long time, and I represented Texas as the executive director of the Texas Film Association. So, if you have questions about becoming somebody in the film business, not an actor, I'm talking about people who make the stuff behind the scenes. If you're interested in that as a profession, I'm always glad to talk about that and share some advice.
Okay, so do you have a Facebook or a website for my listeners who want to follow you?
My Facebook the website SpeakerCoop.com, but also JeffKleinSpeaker.com, and my Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn are all Jeff Klein Speaker.
Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Well, you did not ask who I want to meet.
Well, who?
I'm looking to meet business owners and C-level executives who are getting ready to retire, because I have a program called Speak to Leave Your Legacy. So if your grandpa or grandma has worked for 40 years or 50 years, and they're getting ready to retire, and they're looking for something to do besides retire or along with retiring, they want to play golf or go fishing, but they also want to do something, we're going to help them write their book and create their keynote speech.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for being my special guest. Can you stick around for Math Corners?
Sure.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number is 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you so much, Jeff, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're just more multi-step word problems. My dad is always good at finding new problems for me to solve, and today, we're going to talk about booking guests for a show, kind of like speakers, so I think you might be good at this one, okay? So, I have a podcast, and I have to book 10 new guests for my show. My dad emailed a bunch of people before, and he learned that normally like 30% of the people will say yes when invited. But then 20% of those that said yes will have to cancel later. If that is the running average, how many people should I invite so I can get at least 10 confirmed guests that will at least show up?
So we got to do that like it's algebra, I believe, because we've got an x to solve for. So we need 10 guesses. So that's our final answer, right? Is to get to equal 10, and then x is how many we need to call to equal 10. So 35% of people will say yes.
It's 30.
30%. Okay. So 30% will say yes. So our X is the number of which we have to reach out to. But then only 25% of the 30 will
20.
not show up. 20% of the 30 will not show up. Okay. So I think first it's what's 20% of 30%? Right? I mean, does that sound right to you?
Yeah?
So, but we have to do it in reverse to get to to get to X. So, 10 is 20% of 30% of X. And I don't have a chalkboard or a whiteboard to put it on.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll take over.
That's
Don't worry.
I think that's the formula.
I got it. Well, this is a real-world problem because not everyone has a dad that can do most of the work for asking people to be a guest on my podcast. So some people have to do it for themselves. So first, you have to make an equation, like he did. We'll make n the number of invitations sent. So the number of people that accepted would be 30%, or 0.3 times n. Okay, that's easy. Now we have to figure out those who cancel, and that would be 20%, or 0.2 times 0.3 times n. Now it's just getting harder. So the number of actual confirms is the accepts minus the cancels, or 3n minus 0.2 times 0.3n. Wow. This is getting to be a lot. Okay, so now you simplify. 0.2 times 0.3 is 0.06. Then you subtract that from the 0.3, and then you get n equals 0.24. So 24% of the invitations result in a confirmation. So to get 10 confirmed guests, you have to take the 10 and divide that by 24, which you got a calculator. It's, think, 41.6. Or 42 people total, because you can't have a fraction of a person. That's just illegal. But it's also a lot of people. So, Jeff, do you ever have to figure out averages of cancellations when you're booking speakers?
Not usually. Usually the numbers we're concerned about when we're booking is butts in seats. That's what we call it. That's the term we use, is how many butts are in seats. And sometimes, and that's one of the things that I help folks with, Tiberius. Sometimes the speaker's responsible for those butts, and sometimes the planner is responsible for those butts. And sometimes nobody's responsible because they're coming to that meeting every week. And so they always have anywhere from 15 to 25 people every week. So they can tell the speaker that, and depending on the speaker, they're glad to speak to 15 to 25 people. And they just don't know where in that range the audience will be that for the week they show up.
Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for your help with Math Corners.
My pleasure.
And now it's time for the Heart of Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the Heart of Lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. So this week, we are going to talk about nobility. For me, I think nobility is remembering that we are God's special possessions and acting in a noble way, showing courage and honor. The qualities of nobility are goodness, virtue, honor, generosity, and selflessness. Today, we've been learning about public speaking and using your words. Words are powerful. They can inspire people or hurt them. When you speak, you choose what kind of person you are going to be remembered as. Rotary, we end our meetings with a 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? See, this is a great example of nobility. Nobility means that you speak honestly, even when it's easier to lie. You speak kindly, even when you're frustrated. You speak confidently, even when you're nervous. And you speak with purpose, instead of just speaking to be heard. So when you talk to others this week, think of the 4-way test and ask yourself, are my words building someone up? So, Jeff, do you have like an example of nobility that you saw this week?
Yeah, one thing I think about when that I learned from a religious standpoint is that God doesn't make any mistakes. So no matter how much you might be down on yourself, remember that he doesn't make mistakes. And you are not a mistake. As a matter of fact, you beat 6 or 7 million other swimmers to be you. And so it's important to remember that we're all important and we all have a place. You might not have figured out where your place is yet, and it might take a while. You might not find it in high school. I sure didn't. But you will find your place in the world, and you will find where you are empowered to make the world a better place. And what's more noble than that?
So, Jeff, of all of the Heart of the Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
I think people struggle with the nobility the most. They're unkind to other people, and there's no reason to be unkind to others. We used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, and then the internet came along.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Absolutely.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Jeff Klein for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about all your work as a speaker, coach, and building the Speaker Co-op.
Thanks, Tiberius. I had a great time, and you're so welcome.
Do you mind giving your social media website again?
Not at all. So SpeakerCoop.com, no hyphen, is the site to learn more about speaking, and we have some free stuff there for you. JeffKleinSpeaker.com, you can learn about business networking there. And on the social medias, Jeff Klein Speaker, especially LinkedIn. My friends, Facebook's full. Instagram is still open, and so, of course, is LinkedIn. But if you have a question about business, speaking, et cetera, LinkedIn's the way to go.
Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show, and I would like to thank WWPR 1490AM, K1998, Soul Radio 24/7, EasyWay TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Hey, Jeff, are you subscribed yet?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I've
Well, this
subscribed and Facebook and Instagram. I connected.
Okay. So this week, Fatal J says, from illegal ink to instant icon. This title alone feels like a graphic novel waiting to be made. Your storytelling instincts are sharp, dramatic, and full of heart. The story is half as compelling as the title. You've got a masterpiece on your hands. Bravo. Well, Fatal J, thank you so much for watching the show and really paying attention. And leave a comment on my videos, and I might even mention yours at the end of the show. Also, be sure to listen to us next week on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy. And that's a wrap.